Hello there everybody, it's HeroicLegend here. For those of you who are watching the day this comes out, Happy New Year! I hope you all had a fantastic New Year's Eve. I hope everything was fine for you all, that you were all safe and celebrated in the way that, best made you happy. I figured we'd start off the new year going a little strong. Instead of a lead sample, this is going to be joining the randoms because this is Aethermancer. Now, I'm not sponsored, obviously. I'm quite small for that. But maybe one day. But, I had ended up getting this game thanks to Jamer. He wanted to give me a little something throughout the holidays, and this was the thing that he decided on. Aethermancer is a creature collecting roguelike, although there's not as many creatures to collect, and I will be explaining that shortly. But this is a roguelike that I have had a lot of fun with. It's still in early access too, which I think is amazing because it already has quite a bit of replayability. Should any of the devs happen to find this video, hi, I love your game. And there are a few things I would like to see personally, but I'll save that for while we're going through it. And who knows, maybe, they're planning this stuff already. I hope you all enjoy this, and if you've discovered that this game looks pretty cool and you like it, go through it. I am skipping the tutorial, and I'm disabling... Did I disable them? Yeah, I'm going to skip the tutorial and disable the pop-ups. So we're just going to go through with a new game. This is my current one. And we're going to jump right into it. Forgive the nasaliness, we're just going to go ahead and skip this. Again, if you want to learn all this stuff, I highly recommend picking it up. Now, normally, you pick your monster during the tutorial and stuff, but since we're skipping it, I can just pick from this group. So, these are the first monsters you can pick through. We have Cheerfu, the Earth Fire starter monster. It has critical, purge, and burn. There's Jotun, the Water Wind monster with tank, shield, and age. Nixie, the Earth Water monster with heal, aether, and poison. And then there's Minokawa, the fire, wind, sidekick, dodge, and force monster. Now, before you pick any of them, you can look through their stats and such. So for example, let's look at the trait. Cheerfu over here has the aura. Whenever one or more burn stacks are applied to an enemy, breaks 1 poison on them. These are unique. It's a signature trait, so no other monster can have it. On top of that, one of his starter perks is a 25% extra critical hit chance. So, he's a crit type of guy. He also wants you to burn your opponents. And, again, I'll get into more of this in a bit. So, his first attacks are Grapple, a 1 earth cost, and Ignite, a double fire cost. Ignite applies fire, and again, I will explain more later. For Jotun, he has Rime Wind. Whenever damage dealt to this monster's shield, deals a combined water wind hit to the attacker with that much damage. He also gets +2 shield at the start. He has Roar, which applies shields to himself and applies redirect, and Ice Smash, which deals damage to an enemy. Nixie, a personal favorite of mine, she has Toxic Tides, which whenever this monster receives or applies a heal, applies poison to the enemy with the lowest amount of poison. Sorry about that. Her first ability is Leeching Strike, which deals damage and heals allies. Her second is Restore, which heals allies and generates 3 random Aether. Again, I will explain that in a moment. Finally, we have Minokawa, who has Shining Spark. The first hit of each attack of this monster deals +1 damage for every 2 buff stacks on it, and shields itself equal to that amount. Pretty useful. It has Tempering, which applies Sidekick, Force, and Dodge, and Supersonic Strike, which deals damage and applies Sidekick and Force. Now, all these little things have, of course, are related to the different types of monsters here. Now, for me personally, on my first data, I started with Nixie, and she's been a reliable and very useful ally in the beginning, as a heal monster is very useful. I have tried out all of them though, and from my power rankings, Minokawa seems to be the strongest, at least in my personal opinion. Nixie would be second and tied with Jotun, but unfortunately Cherfu is the weakest, just because of the fact that he's quite a bit hard to use. However, I'm going to actually go with him, just to see if I can make him work better as my starter. Now, all the monsters you get, you can give a nickname to. So for Cherfu, we're gonna call him... I don't know if I want to give him... You know what? Now. And of course they gave you a free monster off rip because you would have grabbed one the moment you started. So, all monsters you get will keep their nicknames across runs. So every time you bring them back, they have that name. Going around the map first. Here is the witch. What the witch does is, when you see her on the map, because I will explain, I'll explain in a moment. She's useful for soul bonding, so you can start off with different monsters at the start of a run instead, if you don't want to pick your starter. There's no one up here at the moment. Over here is the mayor. Gustavo will allow you to trade in the things from your run to get different bonuses at the start of a run. Very useful. As a little dash you get. Alioth will also provide different buffs for your runs. And over here is where you set off. So, we're going to take Adele, and we're going to start our run. Also, just to let you all know, I very much do love this game. I have already put 19 hours into it since getting it, which I know probably isn't a lot, but remember, it's almost a full day's worth. So, we have... I'm not trying to pronounce that. We have Wooly over here, which is actually going to be his name. Wooly. Okay, here is another person. This is the knight. So, whenever you meet him on the field, because you can meet different NPCs on the field, and I will get to that in a moment, you can either pick equipment, or you can get 10 gold. Equipment comes in common, rare, and epic. So those are the qualities, and they can have different extra stats. So for example, Meteorite Rare, it has what it does normally, and then it gives extra stuff like debuff cleansing or psychic damage. These extra things are random, and it provides, nice little bit. So we're actually going to put that on Holy, because I think he might have more. Just got a little bit of gold there from breaking that. Okay. Combat. So, I will very briefly go over this using my mouse. So, when combat starts, you and your monsters give you a random bit of Aether. I believe it's based off the skills your monsters have, etc. But this Aether lets you determine what you can do for the turn. When you attack, you can generate Aether, or you can use one of its other skills. So attacking will allow them to do that. You also have Craft Memento and Monster Flask. You can only use one of these per turn, as you are also limited by your actions. Now, when a monster has this, they are an uncaptured monsters, and you would need to use a Craft Memento to grab them. So this would be another monster we could get and add to our party. We already have Wooly over here, but in a different version. Also, during your turn, you can inspect your monster too. So Wooly over here has, and as well as the enemies, Wooly over here has Eagle Eyes, can copy the last 2 enemy actions and use them once. On copied action, purge just the same amount of elements of Aether that was basically, he would take away the Aether that the monsters use. So this guy's going to use Bubble Trick and is going to use blue. So we can use Bubble Trick right back on them and make them lose the 1 Aether. This monster, Orthoth, has 2-headed. The monster's first attack was, if this was the monster's first attack of the turn, it heals the allies to the lowest health by 5, and if it's a second attack, it applies power to self. So, again, it has the status of uncaptured monster. You can expect that. Now, combat works very simply. Let's say that Wooly over here had Aether that could help Adele. We'd use Adele to basically get things done. But we don't, so... Gonna have to build up the turn a little bit. That was Sidekick. Whenever a monster gains Sidekick, the very next attack, it doesn't matter if it's a monster or a summon, but that's not from itself, they'll do a follow-up. But first, let me demonstrate Too Strong. Unfortunately, I was actually kind of looking forward to having him. There are a multitude of buffs and debuffs you can apply, and then there's also worthiness. So after every fight, it will tell you what your monsters, I believe what your monsters have done. You also get XP for the run. Also, you don't have to just keep your starter monster. You can pick who's following you. Okay, so we're at the end, but I will go demonstrate that in a moment. Now, as you saw, I was able to kind of jump the monster. Ah, something I can do right here, too. So, we're going to take down this guy right here. Staggered, which is good. So, we're actually going to Bubble Trick into Grapple. Gnarly basic attack. Now, you notice I let the monster stay broken. That's because we don't have to immediately capture it. But we do want to make sure. So the cockatrice is now part of someone we can grab. We are going to grapple. Stagger the monster. And we're just going to kind of make sure it stays down. That's also another big worry. If you let monsters stay broken long enough and they reset themselves, you get that. But not as big a problem. And if I'm correct, just a normal attack should do it. So our monsters now level up. Every level up gets either, I believe it goes aura, attack, aura, attack, aura, attack, right? So there is a point to going and fighting as much as you can, even though it's going to get risky. I'll explain in a moment. So, because of his current lineup of abilities, we get to pick from these pools. He has the burn, the critical, and he would have had also the purge. So every third hit of an action is a critical hit, and for multi-targeted actions, every second. So it would do more damage and guaranteed crit. Splatter, allies have a 25% critical hit chance against enemies with bleed. Whenever an enemy dies, spreads half their bleed stacks to remaining enemies. And for every 4 burn applied to enemies, generates fire aether. We're actually going to go with sleight of hand. Meanwhile, Wally over here has a sidekick and 2 critical ones. So funny enough, we're actually going to also give him sleight of hand. They're going to both be critical attackers. We got a blank memento. We have 2 blank mementos, so we can really stock up on monsters here. Now, it does have the index here, so loot drop, Aether Spring, Merchant, Monster Shrine, Event, and Portal. But you can also use it to teleport right back to... So, random NPC, Aether Spring, or Envoy. Envoy is our other Aethermancer friend who you saw near the cliff's edge, which will give us another artifact, which is our monster flask we have. The Aether Spring gives you a buff for the run, and random NPC could be any of the NPCs you've seen or haven't seen, plus one that you can bring back to the village. So, we get our buddy over here. Looking at his details, he gets +1 Aether, which is actually really not bad. Hot Temper. Retaliate. Applies temporary power to self every 7 times this trait triggers. Applies 10 burn to each enemy. He has Heat and Flurry. So, we're going to grab him because we want to have 3 monsters, trust me. He is another one who can burn. I'm actually going to name him correctly this time. Now, you might notice my monsters have these purple hearts. Whenever you take damage on a run, your monster will gain corruption. It's part of the game's story. This can be healed and fixed at different spots. But just know that it is annoying. Alright, full team versus full team. So we're just gonna go ahead and break his Aether. He's quite annoying. Ooh. Once again, they have done a fantastic job of ruining my plans. Oof, unfortunate here. We are still gonna stop him from doing stuff. I'm gonna take him out. There we go. Stacking up a lot of poison on himself. I'll explain what he's doing. Well, we can explain later. Might as well grab him. It's good to have a wide variety of monsters. Just take him out, buddy. Monster Soul, which is good to just kind of have. Here's the Aether Spring, which lets us pick between, I believe, the 2 elements of our main monster. So, Wind has a 25% chance to give extra experience, while Fire has a chance to drop random loot, and drops to be a higher tier. Oh, equipment from random loot drops has a chance to be a higher tier. We're gonna go with Fire, actually. Now, you may be noticing that when I'm on a higher spot, it lets me kind of do more poise damage. That is a mechanic. This is actually good for us, because we can bubble trick this guy over here. Oh, pardon me. We can then follow up with a big old hit here. A little bit of a retaliate right now. And boosted damage on that guy. So power up. Gonna ignite on you. Bubble trick you. We're gonna have to get the guarantee on this guy. Another ignite here handles the monster. In the early stages, it is kind of hard to get your monsters to like do a lot, but after they get their like third attack and such, why are you gonna give him After Storm? Because dodging also kind of works well for our group. Skill reroll. I'll explain that when it comes up. But aside from just like all the fun you can have with this game, I love its graphics. It's very just it's tickling a nostalgia for me. All right, third attempt at trying to get Mr. Doggy Dog here, and it looks like we're gonna get him. Gonna just handle you real quick. Hit him with a little scratchy. Get rid of you guaranteed. A little bit of self-damage. Alright, he's done for. Reset action triggers. But with no one to really use it on, it's over for you, friend. If I'm correct, my monsters should be getting their third attack and... yeah, Trey on his way to getting it. Okay. This is not bad. Lava Bolt's rough. Okay, so we have a couple of options here. We can go for a free burn to target enemy. We can use Jewel Cutter, which would give us extra critical damage and a guaranteed crit. Or we can reroll, because we've got the skill reroll. Lava Bolt, I will admit, is strong. Because not only does it deal more poison damage, but it applies burn for each. So if I have like 5 Fire Aether, it will be gnarly. But I say we try going a little bit on the crit side. Electrical Choke is not bad. But you know what? We're going to go for Purging here, actually. Actually, no, because as good as this could be, and I'll explain this in a moment, you notice that he has Purge and Tank. That is because your monsters will also gain benefits from those around them. So, for example, if I had one of the other ones, like the Slime, for example, and it had, or no, the Weasel we got, and it had Poison, it might say Poison something. I think just for his own benefit and to give him, you know, a dedicated support skill, we'll grab this. But this is where the replayability comes from. Okay. Little events like that, which can require your monster souls, a couple of other things. It's worth exploring around, because even as risky as it is, it's still for your benefit to go and see what they have. You don't have to fight. You can just run. If you think your monsters are strong enough, you can do that. So here we have Aether Crystals, Knight, and Envoy. We're gonna go for the Envoy this time, although the Knight would not be bad. So Wooly has been hit way too hard and way too often. So in an effort to prevent problems, we are actually going to swap him out for the Tetzel Worm, who I'm going to label... Well, first off, let's see what he got. Toxic Earth. On Earth action from any ally applies poison to each enemy. Plague. Where are you gonna go for Plague? Probably get a multi-tick damage going on here. And your name's going to be... There we go. Alright, friend, you can do little conversations. I tend not to. The artifacts. Once again, you have one move you can use every turn as an Aethermancer, which means your ability is just as important. Although you have to be careful because you can mess up your turn. Wind Cutter, yeah, Wind Cutter. Now, if you notice, even though I don't have this little guy, I can't capture him because I don't have like momentum. I'm gonna just actually do a normal attack on you. Come right in. Ah, yes, we forgot to look at his ability. Or her, however you want to say it. Taylor, Tyler. So, extra crits. Applies poison. This monster gains 4% on crit, applies poison, and it gains 4% crit chance for every poison attack on the enemies. So the more poison they have, the stronger they are. Now this Putrid Odor applies 2 poison itself. Whenever poison triggers on this monster, enemies also take damage from it. Has Corruption Cleanse to help keep it alive, and damage plus. Very strong hits. Once again, little self damage on them. Just for the bigger hit here. Because now, gone. Nice big ol' ignite. A little bit of a flurry here. And this should do it. Death by dots. Skill reroll is nice. We gave the Lance equipment, which I can actually just put on him. Okay, the boss. So I will explain that in a moment. Because right now, we want to make sure we get everything in this area. Okay, a soul altar. If I release a monster soul, I only have one. For the next 2 battles, I can gain one of the following. we're gonna get the burn one. And yes, we are giving up our monster soul. I am actually a little sad, and I will explain why when it comes up, and it is important. Ah! Okay. This is a blessed pond which you can find sometimes. It would cost money, but you can cleanse the corruption from your monsters, and you don't have to activate it right away. So, cleansing 6 is a bit overkill, but we're gonna do it. Want to keep our monsters safe and healthy. Oh! Monsters can also jump you, so you better be quick on that trigger. And by trigger, I mean the A button. Actually, we're gonna stop you from being a pest. So he's done for. Fire it up! Get you with the fire claws. Poison triggers. Ooh, this is gonna be a big turn for us. Fire it up. I think he's cooked. Well, let's take out you then. Make sure you're gone too. Very strong team so far. I'm actually pretty happy with it. Up, Trey gains his other move. Again, Firebolt's one of them. Alchemical Charge. It's a bit costly, but it might be worth it. Actually, we're going to use our reroll skills. This. We want that. Monster Soul, so we did get paid back for it. We can use it again, but the buffs, I don't believe they stack like that. So, we're actually going to go to the merchant here, because A, we haven't seen him, and B, there is something I do want. Unfortunate. Oh well. The boss of the level. It is the only fight you're going to have here. Extra burn, courtesy of our monster. We're going to start purging his stuff as well. Flash guard. Make sure both, at least, hopefully both hits go to him. But also, alright, so both hits did go to him. Get the guaranteed ignite. Big hits, big ups. Once again, we're gonna Flash Guard, but this time Flurry as well to protect our big guy as well. And another bit of Toxic Slash. No crit, so no. We're gonna try to keep the burn stacks going high. Give shields to all of them. Prevent some damage. Come on, big crits! There we go. That's not good. All right, jewel cutter. Big, strong jewel cutter, too. Pretty sure he's cooked here. Or not. There we go. All right. Ooh, another jewel cutter would not be bad. But Firestorm seems way better. Yeah, we're gonna get Firestorm. Ooh. I like that. Rod of Command. That's actually pretty good. How long have I been going for, actually? That's my question. Because these videos... Oh, goodness, 36 minutes. So I probably will be splitting up these types of videos whenever they come up. Depending on, you know, how good or bad the runs are. Because it take a while, obviously. Did not realize how much time it took. I only felt it because, you know. But before we end, I will show you. Oh, yeah, now you have it, huh? Frick. Alright, well, until the next video, I want to thank you all for watching, too, if you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, you know what to do. Much appreciated if you do. Until next one, I just want to say, laters.